Okay, I'm confused. 2002's Divine Divinity was followed up by what I thought to be a sequel, 2004's Beyond Divinity. But then last year comes Divinity 2, Ego Draconis, the true sequel to the aforementioned title sans the divine part, which makes it sound like a sequel to a game that never existed in the first place. And while we're on the subject of that title, redundancy, or I mean Divine Divinity, what in the hell were they thinking? It ranks right up there with Infinite Undiscovery for worst video game titles ever. To make things worse, a little research on my end proves the game was going to be called Divinity, Sword of Lies, before Planet Earth's worst marketing department decided to go with Divine Divinity instead, only to have each subsequent game in the series do everything in their considerable power not to call themselves Divine Divinity. So technically, Divinity 2, quite a good game from what I've played so far I might add, should be called Divine Divinity 3, despite how cringe-inducing that title is, just to shake the confusion. Okay, now that my head hurts, let's go back almost a decade and check out Divine Divinity. If you like role-playing games, you could be forgiven for missing this one, what with that title and its generic box art. But if you missed it, that's a shame. It was good. An action role-playing game with charming, seemingly hand-drawn 2D graphics in an era where games like this were almost all going 3D. Divinity puts you in the shoes of a hero destined to thwart the Lord of Chaos and his plans in the fantasy realm of Rivellon. Despite how generic all that sounds, Divinity had a surprisingly decent plot with a few nice twists. It didn't exactly make a mockery of the genre the way 2005's The Bard's Tale did, but it didn't exactly take itself seriously either. And even when the game wasn't being tongue-in-cheek intentionally, some iffy localization sometimes brought a smile to my lips for unintended reasons. Voice acting ranging from okay to terrible didn't help much either. At the beginning you picked between three character classes: Survivor, Warrior, and Mage. Fortunately, your character's skills and abilities weren't completely restricted by the class you chose at the outset, as your warrior, for example, could learn the lock-picking skills of a survivor, or even a spell meant for a mage. This allowed you to tailor-make your character in a way that Diablo, for instance, never did. Playing Divinity at the outset, as I recall, was equal parts fun and frustration. So much as wandering outside Alaroth, the sleepy hamlet that marked the beginning of your quest, got me killed very quickly. This game wasn't a walk in the park, that much was true. Point of fact, sometimes it was an absolute bitch. It wasn't helped by the fact that you usually stumbled blindly into accepting quests you may or may not have wanted to, causing your journal to become a bloated, overstuffed tome in a hurry even as you scratched your head in confusion as to what you should be doing. Sticking with the game past its initial unfriendly assault proved rewarding, however. A wide assortment of enemies, locales, NPCs, and loot kept the world of Rivellon interesting, and in the end, won me over to the game's cause. Its large, non-linear world also kept it from being the Diablo clone that it initially looks like at first glance. As Divinity spawned no less than 2 sequels thus far, I guess it wasn't entirely overlooked. It must have had its fans, such as myself, so I can't exactly call it underrated. But at the time, it definitely seemed to be an underdog in the oversaturated RPG landscape. I hate to sound like a broken record, but if you missed it the first time around, see if you can find a copy and have at it. Be prepared to be frustrated initially, but trust me, it does wear off.